all this is going in the bloopers. Except there's one bit where I say, stay tuned for the blooper reel, folks, where I'm probably going to tell you guys the quick story of how I electrocuted myself yesterday. Never a dull moment for Candace. Okay, you don't want to miss that. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Hi, my little babies. Welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. Lining up camera. What the Smut Book Reviews. Hi, my name is Candace and I'm your host. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. I greatly appreciate it. Look how chill I am. Will it last? Time will tell. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing a book that I received as an ARC from one of the 3 authors that I ARC read for. Because Candace can't ARC read for more than 3 authors because I know myself. And if I tried to do more than 3 at any given time, I would just collapse into a puddle of goop. I don't do well under pressure. I can't meet deadlines, and I'm a hot, steaming mess at all times. So, I don't accept ARCs from authors as a general rule. However, there are 3 authors that I forcibly, when I say forcibly, I mean I essentially bullied them into letting me onto their ARC teams. It was lucky that 2 of those authors had the same social media manager, and that social media manager was responsible for rounding up their ARC readers. So I only had to bully one person to get onto both of those teams. Naomi, Naomi, shout out to you, girl. If you're not following Naomi, you really should. She's literally the best hype person when it comes to if you're an author and you're, I don't know how she finds time to do everything that she does. She handles social media platforms, multiple social media platforms, for at least 3 authors that I know of. At least 3. Then when she's not doing that, she's working on her own website where she creates and designs promos and teasers and covers and all these other things for people. Girl, where do you find time to do all that? She's a witch. So if you're not following her, go follow her on Instagram because she's bomb. Am I sucking butt? I was going to say, am I sucking ass? And then I tried to censor myself. And I was going to censor myself to, am I sucking up? And then it came out as, am I sucking butt? Which still applies, but sounds weird when I say it. I'm just going to go back to what I was originally going to say. Am I sucking ass? Yes. Yes. Because I need all the brownie points I can get. So, thanks. Anyway, now, so I ARC read for Gena Showalter, Cressley Cole, who are both handled by Naomi, and Danielle Laurie, who has a different PR person or personal assistant, PR person, whatever. And she's off in her own little category by herself. I don't bother her too much because I don't want to get kicked off the team for doing something I'm not supposed to do because I don't really know the rules yet. So I'm still quiet on that front, but I did bully my way onto that team as well. So I'm keeping low profile because I don't want to get booted. So, however, Naomi is 100% aware of my crazy, and she's still around. So she knows what's up. long story short, in today's video, we are going to be reviewing a book that I received as an ARC from Gena Showalter via Naomi for her most recent release called Ruthless. Dun, 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 dun. No, unfortunately, I don't have the physical book in front of me because at the time that this video is being recorded, I'm reading it on my Kindle, or I was reading it on my Kindle as an ARC review copy. So I don't have the physical book. It has been ordered and it's on its way, but I didn't want to wait to do the review because, as you guys know, my brain is absolute trash. And if I don't record the review as soon as I finish reading it, it's just going to leak out of my ears. Like the plot is just going to go. Blah, blah, blah. So here we are. However, the book is on its way and it will be gracing my shelves. Gena has like 1.5 shelves on my bookshelf, like 1.5 full shelves. Just Gena, because her catalog is so big. So that is what we're reviewing today, kids. This book is book 2 in her Immortal Enemies series. The first book, Heartless. If you guys have not read Heartless before, first of all, what the fuck are you doing on this video? This is book 2. I don't ever recommend that you read books out of order if they're part of a series. Don't make Candace sad. Don't make me cry. Don't do it. If it's part of a series, I don't give 2 floating pigs in space if the author herself says, but the books can be read as a standalone. No. But they're character standalones. No. You read them in the correct fucking order. Don't make me sad. Do it, okay? So if you have not read Heartless, turn this video off and go do that. Or if you don't care about spoilers, turn this video off and go back a little ways and watch my review for Heartless by Gena Showalter. I give away massive spoilers in every single one of my videos, however. So if you're not prepared for that, don't watch any of my videos. That's a big spoiler warning. Don't watch, disclaimer, don't watch any of my videos if you care about spoilers because I give away literally every plot point of the book. Okay. So this is book 2. If you have not read book 1, tune out. Okay. So let's get the details of the book. We'll read the blurb and then we'll break it down, okay? This book, unfortunately, is not available with KU. Gena does not publish any of her books in KU. I'm sorry to say. Unfortunately not. However, Gena's writing is so worth the actual purchase of her books. She will not disappoint you, I promise. Just pay money for the books. You won't be disappointed. I would highly recommend, instead of purchasing the ebook, unless you are an exclusive ebook reader and you don't collect physical books. Then, of course, obviously, you can purchase the ebook, which is right now $8.99. If you're not an exclusive e-reader and you do collect physical books, buy the physical book. You will love this book so much. You will want the physical book anyway for your collection. So why purchase the ebook to read it, to love it, to then have to spend more money to buy the physical book? Listen to Candace, buy the physical book instead. Okay? Okay? Do what I said. Listen to Auntie Candace and do what I said. Okay. Now, here's the thing. And this always blows my mind. The mass market paperback for this book, which typically with Gena's books, they're only released on release day in hardcover. I believe that was the same this time with Ruthless. But what generally happens is it's released in hardcover And then you have to wait like 6 months until the mass market paperback comes out. Not so with this one. You can right now get the mass market paperback for Ruthless for $7.48. The Kindle version is $8.99. The physical book is $7.48. What universe are we in? What universe are we in? Where a physical thing you hold in your hands, where a physical thing that you hold in your hands that costs money to create, that costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars to create, obviously not one copy, but you know what I'm saying, that they had to print this heavy cardstock, and they had to use ink, colored ink, and they had to use glue, and they had to use ink for this, and pages and paper. What universe do we live in where this costs less than something, a file on a computer that can be copied over and over and over and over and over, and you can just dish them out to billions of people if you wanted to. And it costs more than this. Okay, here's the thing. I don't understand everything that goes on behind the scenes of the publishing world, right? I don't understand. I'm ignorant, right? I'll admit that. But when you have a book that is a digital file that can be infinitely reproduced with little to no cost, and you're charging more than something that costs actual money and resources to reproduce, the science doesn't add up. The math doesn't add up. Make it make sense. Make it make sense to me. Naomi, help me. Make it make sense to me. Sorry. Ooh, God, that brightness just got way too glaring and revealing to all my nooks and creaks and crags on my face. So I did myself a disservice. Whoopsie. Whoopsie daisy. Anyway, so tirade over, moving on. Purchase the mass market paperback. Oh my God. Oh my God. The hardcover for this book, which is stunning to look at, is currently for sale for $28.99. I feel like that's a little bit pricey. Again, I don't know what all goes into printing a hardcover book. That could be the going rate for hardcovers nowadays. I'm comparing that price to prices of what I used to buy hardcovers for 15 years ago at Barnes & Noble's, which was like $24 and change. So maybe that is the going rate for a hardcover. I don't know, but that seems high. This book is also available in audio. Okay, now let's talk about the audio. I listened to the audio. The male narrator that was chosen to narrate this book is not Adam Gold, who was the male narrator who was chosen for the first book. When that announcement went out, my heart literally dropped to my knees. If you have listened to the book narration for Heartless, then you're probably still picking your vagina up off of the floor. Right? Am I right? Okay. Oh God, Adam Gold. Adam Gold. If you're out there watching, I know you're not, which is exactly why I'm like getting ready to say what I'm getting ready to say. The filthy things I would do to you are beyond comprehension. His voice in my ear. He has one of the hottest voices. His baritone, when he grumbles, when he growls, because the main female character from book 1, her real name is Chantel. Everyone calls her Cookie. He doesn't call her Cookie. He calls her Chantel. I mean, I think sometimes he calls her Cookie, but he mostly calls her Chantel. When he would get close to her ear and he would rumble in his deep baritone voice, and he would go, Chantel. Oh God. Oh God. I get worked up just thinking about it. Okay. Now, when I heard that he wasn't going to be narrating this book, I was so sad. Sad is an understatement. Now, the narrator that they chose to do this book, I won't say that he's Adam Gold. However, what I will say is he was very good. He was also very good. He was good. Was there a female narrator? I can't even fucking remember, to be honest. I think there was, but I'm drawing a complete blank. She was good as well. If there was one, she was also good. Candace, you're terrible. You're really bad at this. Anyway, the audio is very well done. I liked the audio a lot. So if you do audiobooks, very well done. Very happy. I'm very happy with it. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't sure who the narrators were going in. There was an announcement about who they were a while back, but I think I missed the post, or I like skimmed over it. I want to say I saw the names, and then I totally spaced and forgot. So when I got ready to listen, I hoped and prayed that it was not the narrator for the narrator who does her Rise of the Warlord series. For some reason, his voice like icks my brain a little. I don't know why. There's just something about his voice that makes my brain go like a little bit haywire. Anyway, this narrator though, yeah, you could get it. You could get it, boy. So audio, very good. Now, this book allegedly, the mass market book, has 416 pages. Obviously, I don't have the book here with me right now to verify that, so I'm just gonna have to take your word on it, Amazon, aren't I? Go ahead and take this win right now, because it's one of the few that you'll ever get from me. I know it's not correct, but I can't fight you on it because I don't have the book. You're welcome. Anyways, now, let's read the blurb really quick, and then we're gonna break it down. Because we're already 21 minutes in, and Candace hasn't said shit about the book in terms of plot. So let's go. All right. Now, you know how there's like little taglines at the beginning of each paragraph where it's like in bold or it's in like italics or whatever? Okay, the first one says, forbidden, powerful, ruthless. Micah the unwilling, Fey king of the forgotten, can tame even the most violent of beasts. Forged on the battlefield, this iron-willed warrior considers his soldiers his family, and he will stop at nothing to reclaim their dispossessed land. Gearing for war with a sadistic enemy, he is disciplined and focused, until a feral beauty he encountered long ago wanders into his camp. Okay. Next paragraph. Viore D, something I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce, wields a terrifying ability to sing monsters to life. Having spent her childhood in a forest, raising herself and her frightening creations, the only friends she's ever known, she's ill-prepared for the scarred royal and his fearsome brutality, not to mention the ferocity of their connection and the carnality of his touch. But the real problem? Her brother is Micah's greatest foe, and though the sensual king makes her burn, she must stop him, whatever the cost. Okay, so, all right, now, as you can clearly see, the two main characters for this book are Micah and Viore. Okay, who should we begin with first? Micah is King of the Forgotten. Now, what that means is, within the realm of the Fae, there are several kingdoms or courts, if you will. If you read YA fantasy, you know all about this shit, right? I don't read YA fantasy. I've read like one YA fantasy series. But if your brain is not as trashy as mine, then you'll be able to keep up with this much better. Within the realm of the Fae, you have several different kingdoms and courts. In Gena's Fae realms, they're surrounded by, or they're based off of the seasons. So you have the summer court, the spring court, the winter court, and the fall court. Fall court? Autumn court? I can't remember. Whatever. So outside of those four courts, you have Kesar, who we met in the first book. He's known as Kesar the Unhinged One because he's insane. He has formed the Midnight Court, which is like a runoff court of his own that he forged on his own out of revenge and madness, right? Micah, part of Kesar's kingdom is the Dusklands, which is like an inhospitable, teeming with beasts and just barren region. Micah has basically taken over that portion of Kesar's lands because Kesar, pre-Cookie, right, was within his own head and completely deranged and didn't know what was going on right under his nose. So Micah formed his own little court, not so much a court, but like a settlement in the Dusklands. And he became their king, the King of the Forgotten. His people are known as the Forgotten because they're basically out there exiled in the Dusklands. Nobody remembers that they're there. They're just there. They steal food and things from Kesar's kingdom to survive. Micah is not a king he was not elected king out of popularity. He was elected king out of necessity or out of fear. They don't like him. Or they have not up to this point liked him. Because Micah is what's known as a chimera. Within this Fae realm, all of the Fae have, or most of the Fae, have what's known as a glamera. It's like an inane power within yourself. Each one is different. There are different classes of them, I'm sure, that you can fall into, but no one knows what other one the Fae wields unless you show it to them, right? So it's a power akin to your spirit, your soul that you have within you. Micah was born with 2. That makes him a chimera. Normally you would think, yo, he got not 1 but 2. Bomb. He's gonna be the strongest of the bunch. He's gonna be hella popular because he's got 2. No. No, no, no. His 2 Glamaras are at constant war with each other. And because of that, it kind of puts off this force field of energy around him. Whenever he's agitated, whenever he's in battle, whenever he's whatever, it puts out this energy that makes the people around him suffer. Even his own citizens. It gives them like this sensation like their skin is being clawed. Like there's like ants under their skin, or there's like bugs crawling under their skin. And it makes them want to tear their own flesh off, right? Not fun to be around. So naturally, he's a pariah. Now, because he was so ostracized growing up, Micah was an orphan, by the way. Even his parents did not want him. He was raised by another chimera named Warren, who brought him up and trained him on how to survive, and taught him how to hunt these creatures called Balua. They are like creatures of the earth, monsters, if you will. And he grew up very hardened, very battle scarred, very etc. When he was a young boy in the woods, he ran across a girl asleep on a stone altar, like a bed. And she was beautiful, and she was covered in like moss, a blanket of moss. And she was surrounded by these trees, and the trees were alive. They were what he usually hunts to kill, these Balua, these creatures. But they were protecting her. He wanted to get close to her, and so he didn't outwardly attack the trees. He pretended to make nice with them. And every day he would bring her gifts and lay them at the altar. And every day he was able to get a little bit closer. And he would bring her jewels, and he would bring her gowns, and he would bring her these gifts. And every day he would come, she would still be asleep. And she slumbered for days and weeks and months. She slept. And every day he was able to get a little bit closer to her, until one day he was able to get close enough to her to touch. Well, when he did, she woke up. She woke up, she saw him, and she screamed. It immediately put the blue into action, and they attacked him. He barely survived the attack. They like chased him down, and they basically ripped him to shreds. From that point on, his entire body was covered in scars. He never saw the girl again, or until many, many years later. He never saw the girl again, but he always thought about her. He didn't know if she was their prisoner, or, you know, if she controlled them or whatever. But he always thought about her. And that girl was Viore. Now, normally, Micah can control beasts. That is one of his glamaras. He can control any kind of beast, as long as that beast has like an inane, like evil part in itself. However, he cannot show, his one weakness is that he cannot show fear towards that beast. If he does, then the beast he'll lose hold of the beast. Now, Viore, if you read the first book, you know who Viore is. Viore is Kesar's little sister. When Kesar was taken by the Frost Lines in the beginning of book 1 and held prisoner for a year, Viore was left in the woods to fend for herself, which she did. She wandered the woods and she managed to survive by using her Glamara, which it turns out part of her Glamara was to create these creatures, these Balua, to protect her, to feed her. She would create trees that would grow fruit, that would grow all kinds of different fruits. They would protect her while she slept. And that was the caveat, though. The more creatures she created, the more power she expelled. And every time she would expel that power, she would fall into a deeper sleep, and she would sleep for sometimes centuries. Now, the trees would guard her while she was asleep, but she would still miss out on huge chunks of life. During that time, she grew. She grew from a little child into a woman. Kesar grew from a small child into a man, a crazy man. Micah grew from a small boy into a man, a hardened warrior who is now a king. Viore has woken up and she goes looking for food. She's hungry. She walks into this village or camp or whatever you want to call it, and she sees progress. There's so much that's being done here. What's this about? She gets nabbed by this guy, Norak. Norak is a piece of shit. Now, she gets taken. He's like, you might be the one that our king talks about or has spoken about. You're going to see the king. He drags her behind him, takes her to the king. She thinks the king is Kesar because she's heard of Kesar. She knows what happened to him. She knows that he's now king of the Midnight Court. But she doesn't know where exactly she is. She doesn't know because when she has expelled massive amounts of power in the past, she has actually gone so far as to open up portals accidentally into the mortal world, where she has spent significant portions of time, even so far as to be in a relationship with a mortal man who turned out to be married and broke her heart and her trust. But she's done all of that unwittingly. So she doesn't really know. She wakes up completely disoriented. No idea where she is. For all she knows, she's in the Midnight Court. And the king she's going to see is her brother. So she's terrified because she still feels massive guilt for the death of their parents. Which, if you know in book 1, you know that she feels responsible for the death of her parents because they were both dying from plague. And she attempted to use her Glamara to sing them back to health. And instead she killed them. Because her voice, instead of compelling them to get healthy which is what her brother's Glamara did, and what she thought her Glamara did as well. Her Glamara actually produced a creature that then took their parents' lives. But it was a creature only she could see. Her brother could not see it. So when he came in and found their parents dead, he assumed it was because she tried to use her Glamara, but it did not work. So he has no idea that her Glamara is the type that creates these creatures. He just assumed that her Glamara does do the same thing as his. It just did not work that one time. So she still feels that massive guilt. And so she doesn't think that her brother ever wants to see her. And until she does something to repent or to repay him in some way, she can't see him. So she's hesitant. Don't take me to see the king. Norok's like, you're going to see the king. He drags her. And it turns out not to be Kesar. It's Micah. Micah's like, oh my God, it's you. She's like, oh my God, it's you. They have a little moment. Now, she stays with him. He keeps her his prisoner for the duration. She stays with him under the guise of, I'm going to learn his secrets, his battle secrets, what he plans to do in battle with my brother. After the truce, because they, if you remember, they struck a truce, Micah and Kesar, for 1 year, to hold hostilities for 1 year, to allow a reprieve for their people. And after that, they would war again. The truce is almost up. So they're creating battle plans of what they're going to do to Kesar when the truce is done. So she stays with the intention of learning those battle plans and then ratting him out to Kesar. And that's going to be the good faith mission that she's on. That's her good. That's going to buy the goodwill back from Kesar for what happened to their parents. Unfortunately, that doesn't really work out for her because obviously she falls in love with Micah, as we knew was going to happen, right? However, Micah doesn't know that she creates the Balua that he's hunted his entire life. And not only that he's hunted them, but that they're responsible for killing Warren, his mentor, and only family he's ever known. And he doesn't know that she's related to Kesar, obviously. So they begin to fall for each other. And those secrets are hanging heavy throughout most of the book. They fall in love in the camp. During one of the celebrations at the camp, they actually get married. It's like a very easy thing to get married in this culture, in this whatever. Like, he just has to say, he's the king. He just has to pronounce that it's so, and it's so, right? She agrees. She wants to marry him. So she becomes his queen. However, the secret of her Glamara and her being the creator of these creatures has yet to come out. That secret comes to light shortly after, and he's livid. He feels betrayed. They fight. he thinks that she is a spy, which, to be fair, she is. There's a massive battle between the Belua and the people of the camp, the soldiers of the camp. She, with the help of her Belua, escape into the woods. He gives chase, obviously, because I'm going after my wife. He tracks her down, and he, instead of flittering, which is their version of like tracing like a vampire would, or, you know, like vanishing and reappearing back to the camp, he decides to take the long way round, and they trek it back to the camp, or the settlement, which takes several days. The time in which he uses to become closer to her and hash out their shit, right? During that time, they grow closer again. He realizes that the creatures that she creates are like her children. And every time in the past that he's killed one, he's been killing something close to her. He's been killing a part of her, and it's hurt her. And he starts to view things differently. It's about this time that he finds out that he's been betrayed by Norok. Norok is like his second in command and like best friend. They have a contingent of trolls under their command, Micah and Norok. Micah was controlling the trolls with his Glamara because they're beasts, right? What he didn't know was that Norok also had a contingency of his own trolls that followed him willingly without the use of a Glamara. And that Norok had been planning on double-crossing him for quite some time. It had nothing to do with him growing close to Viore, or the possibility that he may one day side with Kesar, or whatever the excuse might have been. So during their trek through the woods back to camp, he's attacked. They find out that Norok has turned on Micah and has essentially taken over everything in his absence. Micah is almost killed. Viore calls Cookie for help. Cookie creates a portal and gives her some elder seed to save his life. During that conversation, Viore lets something slip that kind of like niggles at Cookie's brain. And shortly after, Cookie comes back and shows her, pulls out from behind her back, Viore's doll from childhood, Drendel, just to see the reaction that she gets. She wants to see whether her intuition is right. And Micah's bride, V, is really Kesar's sister, Viore, his long-lost sister. When she cries out, Drendel, and the doll wakes up and comes to life, Cookie knows that this is Viore. Well, cat's out the bag. she has to tell Micah the truth. Micah is not happy. Micah feels betrayed all over again. He understands why she lied, but he thinks that it was all a ruse at first, but over time he sees that she has nothing now to gain from her continued affection and her continued attention and her continued vehemence that she wants to be with him. And there are several instances where she chooses him over her own brother, whether it be going with him instead of going with Kesar, or choosing something Micah wants to do over choosing something Kesar wants to do. And he sees these things, and it takes him a while to come up to speed because, as you do, most men are idiots, right? Like, let's be honest. But eventually he comes to the realization that she chose me. No one's ever chosen me. I've always been, you know, rejected. I've never been anybody's choice. And she chose me. And he goes back to her, hat in hand, and says, I don't know if I'll ever be able to hand you that trust on a silver platter, but I want to be with you. And I know we have a lot of things to work out, but I want to give this a shot. And she's like, I'll take it. And he's like, I will not bow down to your brother. I won't serve him. And she's like, why would you? You're a king and I'm your queen. And he's like, fuck yes, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. So now they have to devise a plan of how to get Norok out of the way, because Micah knows that Viori and the Balua and everyone they'll never be safe until Norok is dead. Insert Elena. Elena is Norok's sister. Micah has been operating this entire time under the impression that she betrayed him as well. She was one of the top general type people in his army and one of his good friends. And shortly after he finds out that Norok betrayed him, Elena disappeared. Norok told him that Elena was on the same side as Norok, that she had chosen to side with him, and that Micah was just gonna have to get over it. He took that at face value. Well, I'm just gonna assume your sisters chose you, whatever. No. She has been basically held captive this entire time. She managed to break free, and now she's popped up at Kesar's palace with basically intel that they don't know if it's true or not and whether they should believe her. But she tells them that Norok killed the man that she loved, which was one of her bodyguards, or one of Micah's other guards, that they were having like a flirtation or whatever, a low-key affair. And in the end, Viori makes the decision to believe her. Amber, which is Kesar and Cookie's oracle, shoots out with different prophecies, basically. If you and you go together to this battle, this one will die, this one will die, but this one will live. If you and you go together, these two will die, this one will live. If you go together, she shoots out all these possibilities. None of them are good. Micah wants to be the martyr and make sure Viori survives. Obviously wants to make sure Kesar and Cookie survive, because Cookie is now pregnant with twins. And the only outcome that keeps all of them alive and Norok dead is the outcome where he also dies. So he says, I'm going in alone. Well, the only way that he's going to be able to do that is if Viore goes to sleep, because she's not going to let him leave. So Kesar uses his compulsion and puts her to sleep. She wakes up before they think she's going to wake up, and she overhears them getting ready to go about this battle plan. Elena kind of like astral projects herself in front of Viore and basically says, if you use my plan, which is this, and she lays out a plan, free me, create a distraction, free me. We'll both take these stones that allow us to flitter, meet me in the swamp in 20 minutes. We'll go in together. You create Balua. We'll fight them. We'll kill them. The oracle said nothing about you dying if you went with me. Let's do that. Which is true. So Viore's like, I'm not going to let Micah die. So she takes the option that could possibly lead to her death, but could maybe not. But she's okay with it if it does, because it means Micah will live. And so will Cookie and Kesar and all of them. So she creates the distraction. And Elena frees herself and disappears. And then Viore disappears. And then they head towards the camp. She creates a wall of Balua. But she doesn't activate them, because she knows the minute she powers them up, she's going to it'll possibly kill her. It's the most power she will have ever exerted in her life. And that could very well be the thing that puts her down permanently. If it doesn't put her down permanently, she will sleep for God knows how long. But the battle is on. So the fighting begins. And eventually, Micah and a bunch of them show up. And eventually, in the end, she has no choice. She has to activate them. And so she does. And she goes down for the count. Norak dies, but so does Elena, unfortunately. He kills her. He kills his own sister. And then he goes after Viore, who is still asleep, or who is down on the ground. And Micah doesn't know if she's alive or dead. And Norak ends up getting killed. When Micah checks on her, she is still alive, but she's asleep. And he creates, right there where she fell, he creates another stone altar and places her on it the same way that she was when he found her the first time, the day he first saw her. And he recreates the scene. And then he builds her kingdom around her, fit for her and their life that they wanted to build for them and for their children. A castle big enough for their trees and all their creatures. And he does all this while she sleeps. And it's very Snow White-esque. It's very, it's very fairy tale-ish. And she's cognizant of what's going on around her this entire time. But she can't wake up She's fighting every day to wake up, but she can't. Every day he comes in and he talks to her and he visits her, and other people come in and they visit her and they bring gifts, and every day he brings her gifts like he did when he was younger. All of the things he collected from the time that he was a young boy, from the time he was chased away, he collected gifts for his future wife, not knowing his future wife would be her. He continued to collect things and stored them in secret rooms in the castle that Kesar now has basically stolen. But he still has those gifts. He took them back. And he brings her gifts. And one day, he enacts a day of remembering, which is a recurring theme throughout the book. It's a day where there are no obstacles. They say there are no obstacles. And there's something called a marriage line, where men line up and women can go up and choose a man for the night or whatever they want. So there's going to be a marriage line. There is on every day of remembering. It's been a tradition for a long time. So they're having a feast, and she knows that this is going to be happening. And she fights with everything in her. And of course, sure enough, her eyes pop open and she gasps and she sits up. And right around that time, a portal opens and out steps Cookie in a giant blue ball gown with a little wand. Amber, the oracle told me that you would be needing a fairy god sister today. And she helps her dress in a beautiful gown made of leaves and flowers that she creates herself. And she does her hair and her makeup and all of this. And she sends her off to make the grand gesture to win him, which is choosing him in the marriage line to be her forever man. And that's essentially how the book ends. He sees her, his jaw drops to the floor, and he's just, God. I love moments like that, where it's like, when they see the woman and she's dressed a certain kind of way, or she looks a certain kind of way, and they're just like, they're like physically blown away, like breathless. Like I love those moments in books. I live for those. I live for those. Oh God, my heart. Okay, anyways. So an hour and 20 minutes later, here we are. I said I was going to be short. Lies. Anyway. So, for the rating for this book, I'm going to give it a solid, let's say 9, because I liked Heartless better. I'm not going to lie. I liked Heartless better. Something about Cookie as a character and Kesar is it? Oh God! But something about Cookie. Cookie got me in book 1. She'll forever be my. She was sassy as fuck. And I think I gave them a higher rating than a 9. So I'm going to have to do a 9 for this one. But would I recommend this book to people? Fuck yes. Would I recommend this series to people? Oh my God, yes. Yes, 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 and yes. I would highly recommend. Go. Right now. Go buy book 1. Audio. Do the audio. There are so few times where I will tell you to listen to an audiobook over reading the physical book. Because when you read the physical book, you infer the way a book should sound in your head, right? You infer the inflection. You're putting the inflection on the voices. You're doing the pacing yourself. You're picturing in your head how that man sounds, how that woman sounds. You're picturing the intensity of his voice when he says certain phrases, when he says certain words to her, when those moments happen, those crucial moments in a book, right? You're adding all of that yourself when you read. So there are hardly ever would I say, oh yeah, do the audiobook instead of reading it yourself. I'm almost always going to tell you to read it yourself. But there are a handful of times when the audiobook is literally such a transcending experience. It's transformative. It's like listening to the book all over again for the first time. It's like listening to it for the first time all over again. It's a totally different experience because the narrators are just that good. Heartless is one of those. Adam Gold is one of those narrators. The narrators for The Maddest Obsession by Daniel Laurie, another one of those books that I recommend to everyone. Listen to the audio instead of reading the physical book. The Dangerous Beauty series by J.T. Geisinger. It's a trilogy of novellas about the same couple. The narration, it's duly narrated by a male and female narrator. Oh my God. The voices, the banter, the back and forth, the voices of the characters are so spot on, so relatable, so they're just, I can't. I will always say, listen to the audio instead of read the book. And I never do that. Literally like 5 times in life will I ever say that. So go listen to Heartless, okay? Start this series, go listen to Heartless, jump to this book. If you want to read it, you can definitely read it, but the audio, again, the audio is very good. So if you like audio and you want to do audio, by all means, do audio. I will not tell you not to do audio. So, solid 9, okay? Anyway, that's it for you for today, kiddos. That's it for today, kiddos. I thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you like me and my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. If you'd like, you can follow me on social media. I will link them all in the description box below, and I'll put a little banner here on the screen for you guys to see. And yeah, I think that's it. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Okay. Oh, hello. Hello. It's been so long since I sat down to record. I've forgotten how to speak. I'm British now, in case you were wondering. Oh my God. Oh my God. Did you hear that? That was my stomach. My tummy's growling. Anyway, hello. Welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. I'm your host, Candice. As you can see, I'm completely fucked up. I'm completely fucked up. Hi. Hi. In today's video, we're gonna try and be chill, but quick. Have those two things ever been in the same sentence in regards to me? No. No, but we're gonna give it a shot. So let's see what we can do. Let's breathe. Let me wet my whistle really quick. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Raising herself and her frightening creature. She's ill-prepared for the scarred royal and his fierce... Can you speak properly, you dumb bitch? Huh? Can you? Okay. Within the ray of the film. Within the ray of the film. ¿Por qué? What? 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 Within the ray of the film. Why are you so stupid? Oh, God. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. This is why you have hour-long videos. You fucking turd. Anyway, all right. Within the ray, I'm gonna do it. Do it again. I did it again. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Jesus. All right. Should we try again? Should we try again for that sentence, or should we just skip that sentence altogether? It's clearly just meant to fuck us up. Oh, God. Okay. Okay. Within the realm of the Fae. Within the realm of the Fae. Okay. During that time, do you hear these fucking bugs? Okay. This video has been an hour and 20 minutes long. I am not going to tell the electrocution story. I will let you see my thumb that's been band-aided though. That's where I electrocuted myself. Let's just say, don't fuck around with needle nose pliers on a 40-volt battery. Candace, you should have known better, known better, should have known better, known better. I'm a dumbass, y'all. You don't even know. You don't even know. I mean, you do know, but you also don't know, okay? Like, you don't even know, okay? Anyways, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys. I gotta go. This is gonna be bloopers anyways.